And we welcome you to another edition of This is Wrestling Live. Backlash. Versage, Zach McGibbon with you. Zachary, have you had time to recover? I think it's about, what, 8, almost 9 days since Backlash and the show that we did right afterwards. You've had a little bit of time to recover, have you? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Mr. Versage. Yes, I have recovered. I read a little bit of the reaction to Backlash, and I just had a feeling when we were reviewing it, I was like, man, I feel like we're going to be the low ones on this pay-per-view / PLE. And lo and behold, watching and reading the reactions to the Backlash show, we were the low ones on that PLE. But it is what it is. We just call it how we see it. I've calmed down now. It's nice when you have a little bit of time just in between to just say, you know what, not going to go live or anything like that. You could look at it from outside perspective, and then you could come in with a fresh mind and a fresh perspective. So I'm coming in fresh here, Lee.
You're still a new man, or
we're back to the new man gimmick, Lee.
No,
we're back to the new man.
Go back. Like, you lasted about 3 minutes.
Yeah. 48 hours it lasted, the new man gimmick. But look, we're going to try it again. We're going to try the new man gimmick again. Look, how many times have we seen wrestling promoters try again with the same gimmick to see if it will work? I mean, if they could get Roman Reigns to do the same thing in the late 2010s on just being the guy, then why can't I try my new man gimmick once again on the show?
But that almost lets me know that I'm going to needle you until you're not the new man anymore again. Right. And I don't necessarily want to do that, but if that's what has to happen to let you know that you're not a new man anymore. So yeah, I think some time and some perspective. I'm actually blown away, aghast at some of the reaction to Backlash. It's like people got paid to find something that wasn't awful and then talk about it like it was really good. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Like, I'm listening to, like, there are certain guys and girls on the internet that, that cover this stuff. And, I happen to like Brian Alvarez a lot.
Yep.
I know you're a big Brian Alvarez guy. And he's saying that, if you didn't like the Danhausen little man match, like, you're kind of missing out on what wrestling is. And I'm like, Brian, I'm not. Like, I'm not.
I wasn't too surprised about the Alvarez take, because that is kind of within his realm of
I know, but that's what I mean. It's sort of in his realm, and they've been so negative on the WWE that it's like they got to find something that's a little bit in their realm and then talk about it like it's a 9 out of 10 instead of like a 5 out of 10, because it's in their realm. It was actually a 2 out of 10, but in their realm it was a 5, so they talked about it like it was a 9. Like, stop it, guys. I was amazed at how many people, I guess, didn't destroy the pay-per-view, but
especially the Danhausen stuff. I think I even said it on the review. I was like, man, I think we're going to be the low people on this Danhausen segment, even though it was awful, and I stand by everything I said during that time. Even though the little Danhausen actually put his working boots on, was actually trying out there when he was having his match. Probably could win the John Cena Classic Championship if the voting happened that day. But nonetheless, yeah, like the John Cena Classic, I was still kind of listening back, though, Lee, when I was thinking about it. And, we watched the show together at your place.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there watching the mini Danhausen stuff. And then we go on the review, and the John Cena Classic one was your final straw. And I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. I just find it hilarious that on this same show, you were like, a guy came out of a cloning machine, a guy, and then there was a little person. So somehow that cloning machine didn't work 100% because it wasn't a full cloning machine. Right. It was kind of like 3/4 of a quarter of a cloning machine in this case. And you got another Danhausen, plus the fire extinguisher spot, plus them going back to the cloning machine. And then somehow it works for the mini Danhausen, and there were 5 other mini Danhausens that came out, and you were like, that's not your final straw. the final straw was the John Cena Classic Championship with the tournament. It's like, this is it. This is the line. I was like, the mini Danhouses was not the line. Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not even disagreeing with the John Cena Classic take. I mean, I was watching. It's like, have we really gotten to this point where wins and losses don't matter, and it's all just about getting your vote? Like we're watching a political campaign, and it's like the representatives trying to get your vote so that they can be champion. Like that's what it feels like. Like with this John Cena, and they didn't even, as the details came out about this John Cena Classic Championship and pay-per-view / PLE, it's like, well, they don't have a set date yet, and it might be later this year, but we don't know, and we're still waiting. So why even announce it? Like,
and John Cena's like, I hope it works.
Yeah.
And then I heard somebody, and I wish like we had talked about this because I thought about it. Like in a false finish, like if you do a big match and then you lead up to a big false finish.
Yep.
Why would the false finish even matter? Because wins and losses don't matter. So then if you're building a match towards like a spot where everyone thinks it's going to be over, but it's not. Oh, okay. The guy losing still could win, I guess.
Yep.
Right. So
why even pop the shoulder at that point? It's like, you know what? I got to save my shoulder for future matches.
Just lay down. Look, I've worked hard enough. I'm going to win the belt tonight anyway. Yep. I can just get pinned.
Yeah. I got a good feeling I'm going to win this even though I'm losing. So you know what?
Yeah, exactly.
Like imagine like you just take the Bash at the Beach 2000 scenario and plant it right into that match where you just like lie down and you take the boot to the. That's why the company's in the damn shape it's in, because of BS like this.
Marcus is in. Any attempt to call Sirius XM after Backlash, Lever?
Great question.
Well, I can tell you that the answer was no for a couple of reasons. Number one, it was a Saturday night. And yes, they're on Sunday morning. But I can tell you, look, I'm not trying to put us over, Zach, and I'm not trying to bury other people like what they do, but there was a couple of hosts on Sunday morning, and I heard one of the guys, and I don't know if I should mention who it is, like not a regular during the week, but Jonathan Hood.
Okay.
And he's with Justin LeBar a lot. I find they don't really say all that much, and they're kind of 50-50 on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I don't know Jonathan Hood, but that's definitely sounds like Justin LeBar.
Right. But Jonathan Hood, and all of a sudden he's like, well, I've been in radio for 30 years. I'm like, what?
Oh.
Like, this is what happens after 30 years? Like, I just don't find him that good. Like, he doesn't draw me in. He never really has like a crazy like opinion or really passionate. They're very even keel, which is fine, I guess, if it works for them. But that was Sunday morning. And then usually sometimes I'm busy in the morning and it's like somehow, some way. Oh, yeah, no, I'm going to turn on Pro Wrestling 24/7. Oh, Sam Roberts is on again. Like every time Sam Roberts is on, and every time it's some godforsaken, stupid WWE topic. It doesn't matter if AEW's been on or not, or something's happened in TNA or New Japan. It's like, nope, we're talking WWE. And if we don't have anything to talk about WWE, we're talking about WWE from 10 years ago. Like, so no, I just get a little frustrated.
Put us on Sirius XM, I say. I think we do a good job.
Okay, so Richard says, I got to say, I've been trying to get together time to write an email to you guys, but I think I might be the only one that was actually intrigued and almost excited by the John Cena tournament. Actually kind of looking forward to it, he says. And you know what, Richard? I am here, and Zach is here, I think, to listen to what you think is going to be positive about that.
Yep.
Like, I want to hear your take on why you think that could be a good thing, that you're going to have 9 matches. It's going to be all NXT people against WWE people. It's not going to matter who's going to win or lose those matches. And the second match of the night that might be, I'm just trying to think of, like, I don't know, like Izzy Dame against JC Jane, who's just got called up to the main roster, but they work really hard and they have a good match. And now the John Cena Classic is going on JC Jane. Okay. Like, I want to hear why you think that could be a good thing.
I am very, because look, I want to find some positives. Trust me. You think,
right?
There's this misconception that I want to come on here and just bury everything.
Mm-hmm.
Lee and I just want to bury everything. You think I want to come on here miserable each and every week and just be, like, I know there's a certain intrigue to people wanting to see me lose my mind. I get that. I understand that. I know Lee Versage absolutely is in on that.
End up, like, sometimes I'm in on that. Yeah.
Yes. Like, I understand that there is a certain entertainment value. Apparently me losing my mind is very entertaining. I wear my heart on my sleeve on this stuff, but I do want to see the positives on this. So I am very much looking forward to this reasoning on why. And who knows, maybe we're reading it wrong from Richard's message. Maybe we're reading it as maybe he's knows this is going to be a train wreck. And you know how you see with a train wreck, you can't turn away from a train wreck.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that could also be the.
You know what, Zach? You have turned his positive into a negative, and I like that. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
like
potentially.
Somehow, in the way he said, he's actually the only one that's intrigued and almost excited, and you're like, yeah, it's going to be a train wreck car accident that he can't turn away from. Richard says, I think they're going to figure out the voting and how that works closer to the tournament, and people who get booted out will get voted back into a later bracket.
Oh, so like a consolation bracket? Like, it sounds like the play-in games, like the CFL play-in games.
Oh, Richard, you're making it worse. Like,
yeah, I'm not buying it, unfortunately, Richard.
Yeah, and he says, I'd love for it to be close to what Netflix already does for the voting shows like Kevin Hart, Comedy Roast, or Star Search, if they had that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's done through Netflix and Netflix are the one counting votes. I would have a little bit more of a, okay, like it could be real.
Yep.
Like I believe it in some of the voting shows, but man, oh man, I don't.
And also Richard's kind of looking at this through an entertainment perspective. Like he mentions Kevin Hart and the comedy roasts and Star Searches, right? Like that's very entertainment focus. I think the way that we're looking at it is very sports space focus, obviously on Ottawa Sports Now, OSN.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's where we're kind of like, well, what's the point of this, right? Like it's not something where it then just turns into a judging competition like you would see at the Olympics, where it's like, this judge puts up an 8.8 or whatever. It's like, I'm not buying into that.
Yeah, and a lot of comparisons, as Marcus says, to Cyber Sunday.
Yeah.
That didn't go all so well. And
or all the match options, especially when it be match types, is like, do you want an extreme rules match, a no holds barred match, or an anything goes match? And I'm like, well, I feel like I'm getting the same match here.
Right. And they've already planned the match. So it's not like, oh, do you want a ladder match or do you want an Inferno match? And they're like, oh my God, it's an Inferno match. Like roll out the fire and like, and then the guys
crew out here.
The guys haven't planned for an Inferno match.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen. And
here are the options: a ladders match, a tables match, or a TLC match where we take it all together and put it into one. Oh wow, I could do that.
So I just first of all have no faith in the WWE that anyone's vote will matter whatsoever. Like they've already decided everything that's going to happen. And they've already decided, unless somebody has a really bad match, they've already decided like who's going to win the belt.
Yeah.
So you as a consumer have no say in this, even though they're pretending that you do. And I just don't understand. If you go back and watch some of the pay-per-views, there's a reason the main event guys are main event guys. Right? Like, so, like, I would go back to, trying to think, WrestleMania. like even if you went back to WrestleMania and you were like, who deserves the belt? I don't know. Like for me, I think that the Punk Roman Reigns match was great. And let's just say you thought CM Punk was the better of the two and kind of got the vote. So CM Punk loses the world heavyweight title, but he wins the John Cena Classic because he was the best one. Like that doesn't make any sense. So you're never going to have main event people win this because they're already really good in the main event. They don't need that. So you're going to have some plucky little underdog in match number 2 that they're going to say, like, they're going to put on the train.
Yep.
Like that your job is to make the train for these people anyway. Man, I like
Just
you.
not
I
feeling
would
it.
like to find some positives, but I don't.
Very tough to find them. I again, we look at it through a sporting lens, and just from a sporting lens, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would the matches? If I want to go full bore, it sounds very Vince Russo, where it's like the matches don't matter. It's about what we do after the matches. So,
yep. And as Richard says, thinking of it more along the lines of Netflix voting's already set up. They have a deal with Netflix. If they do it on Netflix, they've already got this built in. That's not how they work. They don't cater to anybody in that spot. Like they are not putting the live results in the hands of Netflix, and maybe Netflix gets all the votes and Sami Zayn wins, and they have no plans to do anything with Sami Zayn, but Sami Zayn won. And now they're forced to put the John Cena Classic belt on Sami Zayn when they didn't want to. Like that's not how this is going to go.
yeah.
I know you want it as a consumer. I know you want it to be legitimate. But spoiler alert, as somebody who was on Survivor Ottawa, which you can find on thisisosn.com, by the way.
Absolutely. Go watch.
Reality shows are not real. And wrestling is not real. And we want it to be because we care about it a lot as consumers of it. But they do not care. They don't. And there's no way the WWE and TKO would let it just go into the hands of Netflix. Be like, man, a plucky little underdog was really good tonight. So The Miz is your new John Cena because The Miz was really good. Right? Like that's not happening. So I just can't really find a ton of positives about it. I think this Backlash show still sucked badly.
Yep.
And I don't understand how people came out of it going, yeah, it was kind of entertaining. So I sent you something this week, earlier in the week. As we sit here, it's 5:33 on a Monday afternoon. I would tell you if I were lying to you that we were doing this kind of as a preview or a lead into Monday Night Raw. But what we are doing is trying to squeeze this in when we both have time before Game 7 of Montreal and Buffalo.
Correct.
That is what's happening. But it's May the 18th. Zach, can you tell me when on Monday Night Raw, the last time that they had, and this is going to be crazy, okay? So just sort of sit down, relax. A wrestling match as their main event.
A wrestling match is the main event of the pro wrestling show. Well, Lee, I mean, it would have to be last Monday, of course. Like, it can't be that much of a gap of the last.
Well, last Monday, they did this crazy angle where Jacob Fatu came in and like attacked Roman Reigns and then stood over him.
Yep.
With the belt.
Yep. And used that Tongan death grip as well. The one that Roman beat out of in the Backlash show. Yes. But they wanted to reestablish it.
So they did that even though they did it the previous Monday and on Backlash. They did it last Monday as well.
You know what? Fair enough. Well, look, it's TV. You know what? I'll give them a pass here, Lee. It's TV. Sometimes you got to get a big angle over. So sometimes you got to put the. So you know what? I get it. You know what? I'm a new man, Lee. So I can look at that.
You are.
I'm a new man.
Sometimes an angle is better than a match for a main event.
Look, sometimes, especially when you're using your TV to try and sell something for the PLE or pay-per-view, I get it. So you know what? Maybe you missed the week as the main event of being the pro wrestling match. So you know what? That's fair. 2 weeks, I get it. You got a pay-per-view to sell, and you want a big angle to end off after the PLE.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 2 weeks ago was the last pro wrestling match. That's okay. I can deal with that.
Well, unfortunately, Zach, it wasn't 2 weeks ago because they actually did the same angle, but that's okay. Like, don't, like, Jacob had 2 and Roman Reigns are in the ring, and like, so it just wasn't 2 weeks ago. So I'm sorry, that's incorrect.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's 3 weeks ago. And I mean, surely they must have been, at least in mid-April. I mean, they have had a pro wrestling match in
after
the main event.
Yeah, I mean, obviously after WrestleMania,
of course.
Like, but before the next pay-per-view, at some point they would have had to have a wrestling match in the main event segment because it's Monday Night Raw and you have a match at the end.
Of course, absolutely. Mid-April, you got to have something
called the main event.
Of course,
right? The last match.
Yep.
Not 3 weeks ago.
Oh, not mid-April, not mid-April as well.
In fact, not April at all.
Oh,
Zach.
Well, you know what I mean. WrestleMania, you got to build some angles for the show.
Yeah.
You know what? That's fine. Okay. So how about March? They've had to have at least one. I mean, Monday Night Raw, there had to have been one Monday Night Raw that had a main event pro wrestling match.
Zach, I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. That's like, it's May 18th. That's 2 months before. Yeah. Like, no, not March.
I'm sorry, not March?
Not March. No.
So
you have to go back.
This is tugging my collar here.
So you have to go back to February the 16th.
Oh man,
where they had a qualifying match. And if you don't, do you have it in front of you?
I have it right in front of me.
Because I'm like, I bet you there's a qualifying match, and I'll ask people if they're listening right now. There are some people like watching us live, as we don't really tell people that we're going live, so never expect that people are with us. But
we're kind of a surprise run-in of wrestling.
Right, exactly.
You never know.
Suddenly you get that notification on your phone. You're like, oh my God. Like,
I better tune in.
5:30 on the holiday Monday.
Yeah.
Victoria Day. So, but if anybody has any guesses who was in the main event, there were 3 people in the main event on February the 16th. 3 months ago, Zach. 3 months of television. Zach. That's like 12 or 13 straight shows without a wrestling match in the main event of a wrestling show. 3 months.
That's a quarter of the year, Lee. Quarter of the year.
Oh my God. Right?
That's crazy. And I could already hear the excuses, but
but let me even tell you, there's only one guy, and as much as I love Richard says Malachi Black. No.
You know what? That would be hilarious if it was Malachi Black.
But there are 3 people, and I would consider only one of them an actual main event person. Gunther, Javon Evans, and Dirty Dom in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. The last time a wrestling match was the last segment on the wrestling show. February 16th. And look, we're recording this before Raw tonight on May the 18th. But now I'm hoping that we go on some like crazy 6-month streak.
Yeah.
Like
We're going to be keeping track even more now.
like I really am, because we're 3 months deep now.
Yeah.
Like there's just no excuse for this whatsoever. This is like, this to me, it's funny because it's so bad. Like it's so insane that they've never had a wrestling match as the main event of their wrestling show in 3 months. So I just want it to keep going.
Just keep on rocking and rolling.
Like, as much as I think Javon Evans is great, I like Dirty Dom, but you don't mention those guys and say like main event of a wrestling show.
Nope.
It's
mind-boggling.
It's an incredible statistic.
It's mind-boggling. It's the pro wrestling show, and there's, imagine like the main event of Monday Night Football. It ends the broadcast with Joe and Troy in the booth talking about the game and talking about upcoming football games. You know what I mean?
Show a couple highlights of other things that happened on the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. That's the equivalent to me.
Like basically having a player come up after the game and like call out next week's opponent in the broadcast booth.
Yeah, if you want to go throwback for any NFL fans, you got Richard Sherman coming a promo about Michael Crabtree,
right?
And the sorry receiver and all that stuff. That's what ends the Monday Night Football broadcast.
It really is. It's mind-boggling to me that
when you sent me that stat, I was both absolutely furious but totally not surprised.
Nope.
With the way that company operates. Like, I mean, we've watched these PLEs where we were just getting inundated with ads. They still have the dancing mug guy from behind the commentary booth.
Oh,
like he's just dancing around. He's giving the two commentators mug root beer. Like, I still have that envisioned. So I guess that's successful marketing, I suppose, if I'm still remembering it. But man, like, and the amount of time, the downtime in those shows, and I was listening to reviewers that were saying, you know what, the downtime wasn't as bad. And I'm like, man, it's still bad though. Like,
right, and that's
the standard though that they've been able to set. So
right, where then it's not as bad as it was, and people are kind of happy about it instead of calling them out for how bad it still is.
Yep.
All right, we will change our focus here a little bit, and I will do it through a transition of what I was doing last Friday night.
Oh, okay.
So I was out, I say on the town. And when I say on the town, it's like not even in Ottawa, but still, it was Friday night. You're going into a long weekend. Was sitting on a patio with Le Champion and his wonderful wife. And we're sitting there just having a nice time, like on the water, like long weekend. Perfect. A couple hours later, like, well, you want to go get something to eat? You want to go over like across the road or down the road a little bit? So we went to another sports bar. Zach, you've been there.
Yes. Was this the same sports bar that
same sports bar? Yeah.
Yeah.
and they have darts. And we were playing darts and having some food. Like, it's a good night, right? Like, it's a nice way to go into a weekend, like a long weekend. Like, we're having a good time. Our good friend, the Super Eats, the super fan Ben Sublier was there. Came later, and all of a sudden we started hearing, like, what's that? Like, what's that sound? A bit of a screeching. Like, what? It's not a great sound, but like, what is that? Oh, that's karaoke.
Oh my goodness.
On the other side.
Oh, let's go.
Right? So we go over, the four of us, after I kick their ass in darts. It's like guys, it's the thing with the numbers.
Yeah.
And
of course you had to drop that in there. It's like, look, I kicked their ass.
Like, it was embarrassing. It is embarrassing. And like we kept playing all these different games and it was embarrassing. It's like it's the board with the numbers and stuff. Like that's where you're throwing it. My God. Yeah. But we go over, and I mean, like, this is, depending on how you look at it, like, I think if you looked at it like a lot of people did with Backlash, you'd be like, oh, like, this is fun. Like, there's a bunch of people up and they're singing whatever they want to sing. And now I might have looked over and said to the group, like, is this rock bottom? Is this like it's now 11 or 11:30 on a Friday night going into a long weekend, and we're in a dark room with about 6 other people that are just like brutalizing songs. Like, just,
was there a specific song that they were especially brutalizing here?
Yeah, insanely, one of the older women was doing Celine Dion, and you're like,
oh, well, that's gonna be
like it's just.
Was it the Heart Will Go On song there, Lee? The Titanic song?
The Titanic song, but my God. Like, first of all, if you can't sing, it's fine to go up and have fun.
Yep.
When there's people that like, you're all like with a group and you're having fun. You're like, oh, it'd be fun to go up there, it'd be funny, and you can't sing, but everyone's having a good time.
Yep.
But then there's the people that are going there because they want to sing, because they think that they're half decent. And then they pick a Celine Dion song, and it's like, first of all, you can't sing. Second of all, not many people in the world could ever do that song anyway. Period. So this is now a car crash that you can't turn away from.
Yes.
So I did look over and say, like, is this rock bottom? Like, where do we go from here? Like, is this what we've come to? 11:30 Friday night, dark room, 7 people. Just killing this stuff. However, I don't want to talk too out of line about other people, but I can tell you that the host of the trivia, she got up and did a couple songs and she was good.
Okay, there you go.
She was good. She was like, okay. But I can tell you that every member of our group got up, including myself. And Zach, I've never done karaoke.
Oh, so you're coming in cold.
Like never.
Wow.
Like, this is the virgin voyage of karaoke. And I begged Le Champion to come up with me.
Oh, do a duet?
Do a duet.
Nice.
So if you could, again, this is wrestling, the show.
Yep.
If you could think about and maybe 3 options of what song ended up happening that night. Friday night, there is video evidence, apparently. I haven't seen it.
Oh, now I gotta know. Now we gotta now we need the video.
And I will say there were other songs done by Le Champion's wife.
Yep.
And she was good. The Super fan, he got up there solo. He did a good job.
Okay.
Like, and again, I mean this like super sincerely. Like, they were good. They weren't unbelievably good, but right. I'm horrible. And so compared to me, they're really good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But myself and Le Champion got up there and did, okay, 3 guesses, Zach. Come on. Let's go.
All right, I'm going to think of some go-to karaoke songs. I'm going to guess Journey.
No,
Don't
Zach,
Stop
remember
Believing.
what show we're on.
Oh, we're on This Is Wrestling. This is OS10. Oh, so it's wrestling themed. Okay.
Well, I'm telling you, if this is a show called This Is Wrestling, like, yeah, what are we doing here?
Okay, well then if it you know what, then I think I have an idea.
Okay.
Was it the Final Countdown, Europe?
You know what? I actually, so you go through the catalog of what they have.
Yeah.
And that came up, and like very quickly, I was like, oh, we get it, and it was Ben that was like, you can't hit any of those notes, and I'm like, yeah, all right, guess we're not doing that one, but I that's a good guess because
Okay.
it was
It
under
was
consideration.
it was under consideration. Okay.
Mhm.
I thought that was it right there. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I've nailed it. Well, now I got to think of some of the other wrestling songs like that have made their way through. Are we talking a rock song? Can I get a hint? Can I get
Yeah,
ask if it's a rock
um,
song?
it is a rock song. Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely a rock song. Definitely a song that people can or people would probably sing along to.
Okay. Uh my second guess will be Cult of Personality.
Should have been my first thing that I did. We did not do that one, even though
Oh,
it was there. I don't want to say talked into, but there was another one that we're like, okay, he felt more comfortable, and I was like, I would have loved to do Cult of Personality.
yeah. I think you guys would have been able to nail that song.
Okay,
Like Mussolini and Kennedy. I
exactly.
think you would have nailed that. By the way, I thank God I wasn't there for karaoke. I would have been easily the worst. Easily
No,
the
Zach, I'm
worst.
telling you, it was like super bad. Like
Oh,
to the point where like I'm really, really bad.
yeah.
Like I am the worst of the group by far. And Zach, I was not the worst person at karaoke. And I'm so bad. There were other people in the room
Yeah.
that were taking it somewhat seriously that you're like, you can't even believe how bad they are, and they think they're not.
Of
You can't, but that's the entertainment of karaoke, right?
course.
That some people that get up there and they think that they're kind of good,
Hmm.
but man, they are just
Brutal.
butchering these songs.
Well,
One
is
more
this a
guess?
wrestler theme song? Is this a wrestler theme song? Or am I uh
Yes.
okay, it is a wrestler theme song. Okay. Because my third guess was going to be Nickelback, but it's not Nickelback. I
No.
was thinking Burn It to the Ground, but it's not that. So um man, I those two I thought were really good guesses
They are,
and
no,
those
they're great guesses. They were both
oh,
under consideration.
unbelievable. I gotta think now some other rock songs then.
I'm gonna give you one more hint that it's
Okay.
somebody that it was the song was popular. I would say a while ago. What a while is like
Berries.
like 4 years ago. Um, 3 years ago, kind of lost a little bit of its luster,
Yep.
but possibly back, possibly making a resurgence.
Okay.
Yeah,
Possibly making a resurgence. You see, I'm glad you're doing the prediction thing after we established on one of the shorts how awful I am at predicting
yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
And now it's just we're going back to this and I'm back
No,
under the
this is hard
spotlight.
though. This I'm not burying you for not getting. You have two really, really good guesses.
Yeah.
This
This
is
isn't like this isn't like NXT is waiting in the background. I have not picked. I went through
right.
ECW,
It's
80s
black and
WWF,
gold. Yeah,
yeah, WCW. What's black and what's gold? I
I
don't
just
know.
don't know.
I just don't know. Um, making a resurgence. Okay. All of a sudden, I was thinking Michael Jackson because of the Michael Jackson movie, but it can't be that.
No, you're
So
overthinking it.
I'm overthinking it
Yeah,
now.
it's
So
a rock wrestling theme song. Might even be sung by the guy whose theme it is.
oh, really? Oh, are we talking Fozzy here? Are we talking Judas?
Judas in my
Oh, wow.
mind. Yeah,
I would have not been able to guess that.
they
Okay.
had it.
I didn't know that was an option.
Well, I looked it up to see. Hey, I wonder if. Oh my God, they have Judas.
Wow.
We are doing it.
Okay.
So, myself, mon champion, up
Oh,
there,
that visual now. You guys doing Judas.
up there
Now
doing
get it.
Judas in front of about 4 or 5 other people.
Yes. Oh, my.
Right. Yeah. No, like you can't make it up.
Oh,
Um,
now I wish I was there.
it was, yeah, we would have forced you to go up at some point.
Oh, probably, yeah. I will say though, back in high school, I did a performance of Michael Jackson's "Smooth Criminal." Had the whole get up and everything, and did like the dances and whatnot. Got a 98 on that assignment. Was very proud of myself for that. So that might be with the Michael Jackson resurgence that could have made a comeback.
Huh.
So
moonwalk and everything.
Moonwalk. I did the spin. I spun, Lee. I did the whole spin. I did the hat thing. The only thing I didn't do is the very tough part where you gotta lean really, really forward because I have no balance whatsoever. But everything else, like,
wow,
I did the Annie, are you okay? Like, you know, I haven't heard from Keely in a while, but she can confirm she was there for that performance as well. That I did that. So
it's a bad segue into let's talk about AEW, but I can tell you that was Friday night. And again, after finishing, not a lot of voice left and still thinking, is this rock bottom? Like, is this where it all just ends? Like, there's nowhere to go from here. Really?
Now you were like, I've truly hit rock bottom.
So let's talk some AEW. And let's start with the announcement of, because we haven't talked since the brackets for the Owen have been announced on both the men's and the women's side. So, and we get two like unbelievable matches on the men's quarterfinals coming up at Double or Nothing, which later on in the week, we will have a preview for Double or Nothing.
Yep.
Maybe you'll see 4 as well. But they're coming out and they are officially sold out now at Arthur Ashe Stadium coming up next weekend in New York City. So that's great news for them. Samoa Joe and Will Ospreay in a quarterfinal. That will be at Double or Nothing.
Yep.
Coming up in New York, as will on the other side of the bracket, Swerve Strickland and Bandito. The other matches have Mark Davis going up against Jungle Jack Perry, and Claudio Castagnoli goes up against Brody King. So one side of the bracket has Samoa Joe, Will Ospreay, Mark Davis, and Jungle Jack Perry. The other side of the bracket, Swerve Strickland, Bandito, Claudio Castagnoli, and Brody King. And maybe a little bit disappointing to me that the finals are going to be at Forbidden Door coming up at the end of June in San Jose and not at Redemption, which still has not officially been announced, but looks like it is going to be in Montreal coming up on July the 19th. So I was kind of hoping that we'd get the finals of the Owen at that point. But what was your first kind of reaction, impression when the men's bracket of 8 was announced for the Owen this year?
My first reaction was, no John Moxley and no Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Because I think it's pretty set in stone in our minds, unless they decide to do another swerve. And that might be a double entendre there of them extending out this Ospreay storyline to try and get him to All In Wembley. Maybe it's not as much of a given as we think it is, but I was like, oh, there's no John Moxley and there's no Kenny Omega in this tournament, where if they wanted to do the storyline of, try getting over the hump after taking the information and learning from John Moxley and trying to find that killer instinct in Will Ospreay, that he would do that to somebody like either John Moxley himself or do that to Kenny Omega, who we saw that big backstage segment with after one of the pay-per-views. All of a sudden escapes me. I think it was Dynasty.
Yep.
That
when they both lost. Yep.
Where they both lost, and they had that essentially that backstage segment where they're both in the trainer's room and they're talking about their big losses that they had. In the case of Omega, they lost MJF, and Ospreay, he lost to Moxley, and them trying to rebuild from that. So interesting that's the layout. Like you mentioned, some of the matches here, I'm really looking forward to Swerve and Bandito. Like that should rock. And I'm also looking forward to Ospreay and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe always has this credibility to him that he somehow, some way, even as he gets older, he still finds a way to still be relevant. in 2026, and I'm not opposed to having Samoa Joe at all in this. The only blimp in this for me is Jack Perry. I was like, I don't need Jack Perry. I'm good with not having him. I understand the booking philosophy behind it with him taking on Mark Davis, who took the national championship off of him, and they wanted to bring that back for this tournament. I get it from a booking standpoint. It's just more of a pure interest standpoint. But that was kind of my takeaway. I was like you. I was surprised that it's going into Forbidden Door, and I was also surprised we didn't get one more bigger name in either an Omega or John Moxley taking part in this.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think because you can only have so many paths for people. If you have so many big names in the tournament, some of those guys gonna have to lose in the quarters or the semis, and maybe they don't want that. This looks pretty clear to me on with kind of every match how this one is going to play out. I think most people, if they filled out this entire bracket, I'd be shocked if I don't go perfect. And that's not because I'm I am really smart, but it's not because I'm so smart.
Not a great singer we've established, but
no. And the problem is my dad had an album in the 60s, and he was a really good singer, and my uncle got some singing genes, and I got nothing.
None of it translated.
Just nothing. Which I think has disappointed a lot of people in my family, but that's okay. Honestly, I think if we went through this right now, I think we'd have the exact same bracket. I think most people would. So that's an interesting part to me to see, because AEW usually does a couple things to surprise you, but I would be blown away if they did a couple things in this bracket to do that. I really like the Will Ospreay Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's been saying that the Death Riders are the ones that hurt Will Ospreay, and the ops can look out for him, and they've offered him a spot, and Will Ospreay's been very resistant to that. And so fighting Samoa Joe in the quarterfinals it's a massive match. It's a really, really good match for Double or Nothing. And as you said, you have Mark Davis and Jungle Jack Perry. Mark Davis beat Jack Perry for the national title at Fairway to Heaven.
Fairway to Hell. Fairway to Hell.
Yeah, sorry.
I know we're trying to look for positive spins on things, but we have to say the names of the events correctly.
Nice. Yes, we do. That's my fault. So we'll talk about how that looked in a minute. But so Mark Davis beats Jack Perry, so they're going to face off again in the quarterfinals. But then let's not forget that, Mark Davis was the one that beat Will Ospreay, his former tag team partner, and they had to stop the match due to injury.
Yep.
So you can see, talk about redemption. You can see Will Ospreay's path to redemption here through Samoa Joe, through Mark Davis, who I think is going to beat Jack Perry again. And you're going to have Will Ospreay going up against Mark Davis in the semifinals. On the other side, Swerve Strickland Bandito is an incredible, incredible quarterfinal match. I'd be surprised. I think Swerve is going to win that. Mm-hmm. And, Swerve's had his issues with Brody King, who I think is going to get by Claudio Castagnoli into the semis. And we're going to see Brody King and Swerve Strickland again. And then you're going to see Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay in the finals. Do you think any different from any of that?
I don't. I will throw this curveball just to kind of make it interesting. Because while I agree with you, and you could also make the argument too, it's funny, I was looking at Moxley and Kenny Omega as sort of being the redemption, but you could even look back to Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland a few years ago, funny enough, at Forbidden Door, where, Swerve was able to beat Ospreay and retain his championship, and eventually faced off against Bryan Danielson. So maybe that's another way to look at that storyline. It's he lost in the past to Swerve at this event, and it's taking place at Forbidden Door, a familiar event. where this is the chance for him to overcome somebody from his past in Swerve Strickland and beat him and whatnot. So I think that story is already built in there if they wanted to go that path.
Mhm.
The curveball I was interested in throwing is possibly Bandito going all the way to the final. And I know that would involve Strickland, Swerve being eliminated, but I
Yep.
throw it to you because of obviously Brody King is in the other bracket.
Yep.
And you could have the dynamic of Brody King versus Bandito. There's been a lot of talk about them potentially splitting up and one of them going heel and whatnot. And I think they have some plans for Bandito to maybe be a big baby face.
Mhm.
And plus, you can go forward with the idea of we haven't seen Will Ospreay versus Bandito in AEW, and that's a match where I'm like, sign me up for Will Ospreay versus Bandito.
Yep.
Absolutely, I'm in. So match wise, I would absolutely love a Will Ospreay versus Bandito match, but storyline wise, and the way that they're booking this and the way that it's being portrayed on TV, I'm pretty much in the same line as you. I think this is going to be a Will Ospreay versus Swerve final, and Will Ospreay is going to win this.
Yeah, and Swerve Strickland's been doing kind of the gimmick away from AEW, saying they want to keep me off TV.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to make it hard for them. But look, if there was a curveball that I could be talked into, that would be it, because Bandito would beat Swerve Strickland, massive win for him. Then he goes up against, his Brodito tag team partner, and then gets to the final, and it is Forbidden Door. And I know Bandito is like part of your company now, but he's also, was part of a former company not too long ago. And like, this still is Forbidden Door, where you have people coming in that are supposed to be at this event.
Yep.
That isn't just a regular matchup. So, I mean, I really like the idea. I think it I always say, like, my last $20 that I have, I'd probably put it on Swerve and Ospreay being in the final.
Yep.
But the scenario that you presented is like the first scenario that I could see other than the one that I presented. So I think that's a really, really good call. And I also think now that they're going to hold out for whether it's Redemption in Montreal, and maybe that's where you get Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega for the third time.
Yep.
But you could also sell me on Jon Moxley putting up his Continental Championship against Will Ospreay, so that he's a champion going into that event as well. That he's got the Owen, he's got the Continental, and the final test before he's ready to go is beating Jon Moxley for the Continental Championship. And you still could do that match in Montreal.
Yep.
So either one of those two guys facing off against Will Ospreay in Montreal, I absolutely could see. So that is the men's bracket. Oh, I had the women's one up here. And all right.
I have the women's one if you want me to go through it.
Yes, go through it.
All right. In one side of the bracket, it is Persephone from CMLL and Hazuki facing off against each other. Willow Nightingale and Alex Windsor in the other side of that bracket. Mina Shirakawa taking on Athena. And on the other side of that bracket, Sky Blue taking on a debuting Saray. That's an interesting one only because of the two totally different wrestlers in Sky Blue and Saray. But that is the women's side of the bracket.
Okay. So you see the bracket, and what's your first reaction from seeing the women's bracket?
My first reaction is a lot more fitting of the Forbidden Door concept than the men's bracket. That's for sure, where you have a little bit more variation in the competition that's being represented. I'm very excited to see Saray in AEW and what she's able to do there. Hopefully that'll lead to more Stardom women being able to cross over. Soon we'll see some of that at Forbidden Door as well. And the other thing that I had was I think Willow Nightingale's got a path to the final here. I think it's a little bit more unpredictable compared to the men's one, but I still have Willow Nightingale going all the way here to the final and probably going to win as well. And I could see it being a lot of people, whenever you look at Athena in a lot of people's minds, it's like, oh, she's the ROH Women's Champion and she's held that belt for literal years. Um, and she's, I think for fans, she's a bigger deal than what her actual push is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I don't see Athena going all the way to the final, I guess is my prediction. I think it's either going to be Mina Shirakawa or Saray that's going to get into the final. Only because in the case of Mina Shirakawa, she's been recently pushed a lot ever since Toni Storm left, because of that unexpected occurrence there. And Mina Shirakawa has kind of filled in that role that Toni Storm was supposed to have, which makes sense storyline wise because of the connection those two have. And in the case of Saray, like she's one of the top women's wrestlers of Stardom. And you could have a unique match in the final between Willow Nightingale and Saray, one-on-one, and you could have that sort of showcase if you would like. So, and that's a match I would like to see as well, personally. So there is a little bit of, this is what I personally would like to see from this bracket in my prediction, but that's how I kind of view all this kind of being laid out.
So my first reaction was no Mercedes Moné.
Yep. Yeah, no Mercedes is also a great point.
I thought they could get her back in, have, another big name in it. Is she going to, find her path back to All In? Because you need some star power for sure for All In, and this could get her there. I was surprised that she was not in it. And again, trying to work backwards, it's like, who do you see? Yes, it's Forbidden Door and you want to set up, and maybe it is somebody that isn't currently on the AEW roster or has shared time between the AEW roster and something else. But ultimately, who do you see in the main, or not the main event, but for the women's title at All In? And that's where I completely agree with you. It feels like Willow Nightingale. Like that the push is on to get her into that championship picture. And yes, she's had, the other belts, but I keep going back to Tony Khan at the end of 2025, going out of his way to point out who he thinks is going to be a big star in the near future. And he said two people, Willow Nightingale and Kevin Knight. And look where they both are.
Yep.
Already. And is Mercedes Moné a bigger star? Yes, but I don't think you can have a Hazuki, a Saray come in. I can't wait to watch them. I can't wait for them to be a part of it, but you can't have them win and go into All In. People don't know who they are.
Yep.
As AEW fans.
Yep.
So who is going to be in your picture that you trust in the women's AEW title match at All In? And I think Willow Nightingale has gained that trust. And quite frankly, there's some other matches, again, in the women's division and the men's division too, but I'm like, they just haven't been all that good. Willow Nightingale usually has a decent match when she's in there.
Yep.
And that's just not always the case. But yeah, I mean, Stardom represented in some of the other, Persephone, and I think that's great. Like that's what Forbidden Door should be. But I definitely see Willow Nightingale advancing. Anyway, I would be like, who would be your number 2 pick to win this, to be in the main event at Wembley?
Yeah, it's a steep drop off at 2 after that.
Right.
The only other one would be and I'm just strictly looking at it push wise, and if they wanted to keep her in the mix, would be Mina Shirakawa. But that's the only one that I would look at as a number 2.
Yeah, for sure. And they haven't positioned her though in a way of, like, they've been pushing her a little bit because of the Toni Storm thing. Who was sending her flowers? I don't know. That was like a year ago. Yep. I think they've dropped the ball on that. Yep. Right. which, you criticize the WWE for like storylines that just go nowhere. And then this is a storyline that went nowhere. But is Mina Shirakawa, who's lost every match, I think, since Tony Storm has gone, like, when is the last time Mina Shirakawa won a match? She loses all the time. So all of a sudden she's going to be in your main event at your biggest show of the year, wrestling for the world title? No, I don't think so. Not for me. So,
well, Lee, she won on ROH Honor Club with tag teaming with Queen Aminata against Billy Starks and Diamante. So maybe this is the start of a big, tremendous push for Mina Shirakawa.
Why don't you give me like we do in the NHL, or like a past last 10 matches, last 20 matches? Like what kind of record does Mina have? Because I'm going to bet it's not very good.
Not amazing. No, some losses here, especially on the AEW programming. Elsewhere, she's like winning all of her matches outside of AEW, but in AEW, it's a tough beat.
Yeah, I just don't think you can go from 0 to 100 there.
No,
and put her in the main event. So this is Willow Nightingale's to lose. Okay, so let's talk about the run here of Darby Allin as your AEW World Champion. Man, he has been pushing the limits. I think even since we last talked, he beat Kevin Knight. He beat Pac. He beat Kinosuke Takeshita, filling in for Kazuchika Okada. The run that he's been on, and it was pointed out to me by the Superfan and I think some other people as well, that he's facing like all of the people that he would have faced in the Continental Classic, that he didn't get a chance to wrestle because he got hurt in that tournament. So he's wrestling all of them now as the world champion. And he goes in to the hair versus title match with MJF at Double or Nothing. And I thought that they did a pretty good job last Wednesday and on Collision, that you started to see those little cracks of, yeah, he's winning these matches, but he looks exhausted. He beat Sammy Guevara on Collision, and Sammy Guevara did a couple of, huge spots on the top of the ladder.
Yep.
But you can see he's fading a little bit. Like was it Guevara he had in the sharpshooter, and then he sort of just passed out?
Yep.
So have you enjoyed this Darby Allin run?
Oh, yes. This has been awesome. This has been such a great title run. The matches that have come out of this, you knew right from the Tommaso Ciampa match that started it all. You're like, oh, we're in for a hell of a run here when it comes to Darby Allin and this title. Some of the other matches he's had, like the match with Pac at Fairway to Hell, was a lot of fun utilizing that facility. And it kind of goes back to the idea of like AEW's got to continue to do things like that to make them stand out. It's like, oh, like we're going to be the show that we will have our wrestling show at the indoor golf facility. And yes, we will fight around the indoor golf facility. And yes, we will do a move into the bunker of that indoor golf facility and get it trending, on social media. Like stuff like that continue to be something that makes you stand out from WWE and everybody else. So that was a lot of fun. The Takeshita match was awesome. Like no surprise there with Kinosuke Takeshita involved. But boy, I mean, this title run has been awesome. And like you mentioned, like the little cracks have been starting to. It's almost likely we called out what this storyline was going to be from the start when MJF lost to Darby Allin during that Dynamite show after the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we called this to a T. We said, he's going to defend the belt a lot, and he's going to like show weakness. Yep. And MJF is going to say that it was a fluke, and it's all building up to this hair versus title match where you still have that bit of doubt, obviously. And they've been really hammering home the idea of MJF going bald. There was that opening segment on Dynamite where he's walking by and doesn't answer Renee's question, and then all the bald people start walking by.
Yeah.
I thought that was a funny segment. Sometimes it's a little too much at the end with Ricochet. It's like, okay, you don't have to explain the joke. I got it. But like, I got what they were going for. Like him walking by and he's like, oh,
Yep.
like this could be your future and blah, blah, blah. Like,
And they've got the t-shirts out as well.
yep.
Like
And,
the bald MJF.
And MJF has been reacting to like all the social media posts about like they photoshopped him bald and he's like, no, that's not happening. And like it is, I think it's something straight out of an 80s, territory where it's like a fun little storyline for the title. It's obviously title versus hair. In my opinion, like I never really understood the bald thing, if I'm being honest. Like I don't really care if somebody's bald or not, but people take that very, very seriously. So it's like, all right, if you can make money off it, in pro wrestling, obviously Mexico, it's a big deal with the mask versus hair and all that. So if you can make money off of it, do it. But yeah, I think the way that, going back to your question about Darby Allin, I mean, this title reign has been awesome. This has been great. It's just been going full bore, defending it each week and making it mean something, and all leading up to the pay-per-view. Like, I think this has just been an awesome title reign. It's been so much fun to watch.
2026 for Darby Allin. You go back to, I guess, the very end of 2025, World's End. He beat Gabe Kidd.
Yep.
And then since he had a couple of months off and then didn't get back. No, he didn't. Sorry. I'm just reading the dates wrong. But this is his 2026. Darby Allin has defeated Wheeler Yuta, Pac, Clark Connors, the Dogs in a tag team match. The only match he's lost in 2026, he lost to the Dogs with Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin against the Dogs on the Dynamite following it.
Yep.
But after that, teamed with Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong at Revolution, won that match. He beat Gabe Kidd again. He beat Roosh. He beat Andrade. Then he won the title and beat MJF. And since then, he's beat Tommaso Ciampa, Brody King, Kevin Knight, Pac, Konosuke Takeshita, and Sammy Guevara. And that's all in 2026. So I've loved it as well. I think they've told the story well, where he's starting to fade. And they've, like you said, they've propped up both sides here. So yeah, I mean, I have a thought, and we'll, in our prediction show, we'll do our predictions, but I think that there's doubt on who's going to win. Like, is MJF going to go bald with all of this stuff that's already out? I think he eventually wins the title. Does he need to be bald for another movie? Like, I don't know. Darby's starting to fade and tire from all of the matches that he has had. I think they've built this really nicely to this pay-per-view, where I don't think there's a surefire 100% winner at Double or Nothing right now. And I think that's great. I'll throw in one thing that I didn't like, especially the other night. Would you agree that they've done really well with Konosuke Takeshita in like keeping him as like a top star?
Yep. Keeping him in the mix for sure.
I don't think a 150-pound guy should be beating Konosuke Takeshita without hooking a leg clean. Because lying over him, he could be thrown in 2 seconds. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So laying out and not beating him and hooking a leg bothered me a little bit. But it was a great match. You look at all of these matches, like the Sammy Guevara, 17 minutes, crazy spots, over 20 minutes against Pac at Fairway to Hell. Like Brody King was 16 and a half minutes. Ciampa was 18 minutes. Kevin Knight, 15:32. Takeshita, 15:29. So these have not been And we juxtapose that with the conversation we had at the beginning of the show. These have all been main events, Zach, if you can believe it. On a wrestling show, they've been the main event of the wrestling show for the world title. They've had wrestling matches in their main event segment on the wrestling show, Zach.
That's crazy. What a crazy concept for them to do.
So I hope people recognize, and look, you might love the WWE, and that's fair. I think you know that Zach and I probably are a little bit more leaning towards AEW, but if you prefer the WWE right now, that's your call. But the point I'm trying to make is, with the WWE doing all of these angles, like we just told you that they haven't done a wrestling match on Monday Night Raw in the main event segment since February 16th, and it's May 18th today. That's not even including, Zach, the gingerbread man funeral on SmackDown leading in as the go home thing leading into their pay-per-view the next day.
Yep.
Like, so AEW is literally now taking the opposite approach and going, if they're going to do that, we are going to have Darby Allin go out as our world champion, and he's going to face Pac and Kevin Knight and Brody King and Konosuke Takeshita and Tommaso Ciampa and Sammy Guevara, and he's going to face all, and we're going to have unbelievable wrestling matches in their main event. I like the idea of AEW doing completely the opposite of what the WWE is doing, because I think if you are a wrestling person and not an entertainment person, and you want to see good wrestling, and you're watching a gingerbread man funeral, or you're watching the Tongan death grip for the third freaking show in a row as Jacob Fatu stands over Roman Reigns, you're like, the other show actually has wrestling on. And you're actually seeing really good matches with wrestlers that want to go out there and give you 16, 17, 18, 20-minute matches. I love that AEW is doing that. And I think that was just the biggest point of, they're doing it with their world title right now in the main event spot, going against what the WWE is doing with their last 20 minutes of their show.
It's one of the things, as you mentioned, that's been helping define them. And what a time for them to be able to do that right now, and recognizing that weakness that WWE has been giving out to its audience and saying, let's capitalize on this and let's see what we can do with this. And, on top of that, like, as we're going through with the Owen Hart Cup and all that, it's well booked promotion right now, Lee. This is a really well booked promotion in AEW, where there were years past. I look back to the latter part of 2023 and into 2024, where it was like, man, the booking was off. There were all these holes, and you're like, after what we saw from AEW before that point, it's like, why are these, plot holes showing up in a company like this? But things appear to have been tightened up again in AEW. It seems a lot more focused with the booking and what they want to do. And they've opened up different pathways that they could go down that makes it interesting too. And it's pathways that's not like, oh, we're filling in the gaps pathways. It's pathways that they've set up, and you're like, oh, I could see them going down this route, or I could see them going down this route. Or if they set up for this, they have this to go down. Like, they've done a really good job of branching off of different ways, where if it's not the main storyline that we think it's going to be, that it would still be interesting if they go a certain path.
Right.
This is a well-booked company. This is clearly a company that, like, knows its focus. Is everything perfect on AEW? Absolutely not. Like, there are certainly, like, can we please stop with the Anthony Bowens push? And this is somebody that I was somebody that was like, I think he's got to look. You got to at least try. But I'm done now. Like, we know what he is. He is who we thought he was, as Dennis Green once famously said. So, like, he is who we thought he was. We don't have to try anymore. It's one of the weaknesses of Tony Khan's booking, is like, if there's a guy that he really likes and he is adamant that he's going to get over, he will push him for. Look at Scorpio Sky. The man is still on the roster, still gets opportunities. So it's not perfect. But in terms of like the main event stuff that they've been focusing on and the main stories that they've been trying to push, they've done a really good job of recognizing what the story is and going forward with it.
And in saying that, like, I know we talked about the Owen a little bit, but I really am enjoying the Will Ospreay Death Rider stuff. Like, I think it's unique.
Yeah.
I think you sort of sympathize with Will Ospreay, and you understand why he's doing that, because he hasn't got to the top of the mountain and he's listening to other people, although like a little bit kind of cautiously. He's still listening to those people, thinking what they're saying is true. And I mean, there's no better person to deliver those promos. If this is the angle, like the story that you have written, to have Jon Moxley be able to go out there and perfectly explain why Will Ospreay should be listening to the guy who like broke his neck. He's doing that. And I mean, honestly, Will Ospreay and Ace Austin is not a match that I'd be like, oh my God. It was an incredible match on Dynamite.
Yep.
And look, you got to give Ace Austin a lot of credit for stepping up to the plate. But that's the greatness of Will Ospreay right now. He's taking people and he is making them better. And that's what world champions do.
Yep.
That's what people at the top of the heap do. They're so good that you want to get behind them. You want to cheer for them. You want to boo them. You want to do whatever, but they're must watch people, but they're also getting other people over. Like, that was an incredible match. That might have been one of my favorite matches in Dynamite in a long time. Like, it was just such a good TV match.
Yep.
And I love that about it. So,
and I gotta say too, on the Moxley Ospreay stuff, there was some reporting that came out that like there was some talk that Moxley, like, you know how earlier in the year we were talking about potentially the Death Riders turning on Jon Moxley on their leader, and Moxley would go off one way and the Death Riders would go off on another way. Yep. There was some reporting that Moxley said that no to that, and apparently him saying, quote, "We don't do that WWE stuff when it comes to my stories." And I was like, this guy gets it. This is why I've been advocating for him, because he's like, why would we want to do the same thing that the other guys are going to do? Let's do something different and make ourselves a little bit more interesting. And that's why I love Mox whenever he's on TV, because it's different. Yep. And he gets it. Like I like when I first read that report, I'm like, like I knew that was the case, but when you read it, you're like, he does get it. Like, yes. And so, and you see it on the screen right now when it comes to, when it comes to the storyline with Ospreay. Like, you just see it. Like, it's something different. And, you know, it's funny kind of mentioning Brian Alvarez before. Like, again, I like Brian. I've said it on the show before. I was listening to Brian Vinian shows, high school into college. Like, that was my go-to podcast. But I don't understand how he doesn't understand where this story is going. Like, I don't understand how he's so lost on it. Like, this seems pretty simple to me, but it's also, you have to realize in a lot of cases, like when you've been following the same beat for beat storylines by one company for so long,
you think it's all going to go the same way all the time.
It's going to go the same way all the time. So when something like this, where you're kind of taking down a different path, you start to get nervous and you're like, well, this isn't how I've been brought up. So it's, you know how it's not even just wrestling. It's always like when something is different and scary, it freaks people out and they don't want it. Right. Mm-hmm. So I think you see that sometimes with AEW, where when they do go down that different path, which for some can be dark and scary because you don't know where it's going to go. What's the path that's going to lead down there? That's not usually what I see. So you will have people that will push back against it because it is dark and scary in that case. But in this case, the way that the story is going, it's what we've been saying. It's different and it's something that's intriguing. And I think you and I, like, and I think listeners as well of this podcast kind of see where this is going, where it's like, okay, this is the path they're trying to go down with the Will Ospreay and utilizing the Moxley influence and creating a unique story for AEW. And again, making AEW different from WWE and everybody else.
Right. They're almost bringing it to life what we all think. Like, Will Ospreay has not got to the top of the mountain. What does he need to do to get to the top of the mountain? Well, he's missing something.
Yep.
And John Moxley's going to call it out and basically give it to him. And that's going to be the end of the story. Like when he finally beats Moxley, he's going to be ready.
Yep.
For this. And it's great. Like I can't remember a story where I know where it's going. And I'm still really, really excited to watch it. Like, and I still can't wait for All In. Like, I still can't wait for the Moxley match where he finally gets over the hump and Moxley kind of taught him everything he knows and then says, go on, kid, go on, win the world title now. I've given you everything that I possibly can give you. And they're doing it in a way that if Moxley ever actually turned on him, people would be surprised. And it's John Moxley. Like,
yeah,
he's a bad, but they've written it so well. And Moxley's delivered so many good things. And I think you're right. The whole point of this was that you have Darby Allin and the world title. You have this Will Ospreay storyline with the Death Riders. Like, I have to say, I'm even a slight bit intrigued because on Dynamite they had Mike Bailey come out and beat a jobber. And then all of a sudden they were doing the like surprise entrant, like open challenge for the TNT title. And I'm like, oh my God, like Bailey's he was just stayed at ringside and they went right into the next match. And there was a thought for me, like Bailey's just going to get in the ring and be the guy.
Yeah.
Right. Like he just beat the guy in a minute and he's behind Kevin Knight. Now, a little bit to my dismay, it's Brian Cage. And I'm like,
yeah, your boy is back.
No,
Wolverine's even more swole as he came back out, Lee.
Yeah,
I didn't think the man could get even bigger.
Well, he did, and he got worse because then he lost to Kevin Knight.
Yeah, but I saw that botch too, and I was like, oh, Versage is gonna have a field day from this.
Yeah, like, but it's the same old crap from him. Like, come on, man. Like, look at me, I'm big. I can't do anything, but I'm big. I'm done.
He started to like there was a trajectory where it's like I thought he was a good in-ring guy, not excellent or great or anything like that, but like a solid enough, like I would like if I were starting a wrestling company, I would have him on my roster and be somebody that I could rely on my television. But I think there comes a point, and here's an interesting comp. It's kind of what happened with Lex Luger, where Luger, I think, had some potential to be a good wrestler, like especially when he's in there with really good wrestlers like Flair and Sting.
Yeah, he was learning a ton when Luger was with Flair and Sting and Barry Windham and some of those guys. But man, when he left those guys,
it's like, oh, like it's funny, like 89 Luger is very different from 99 Luger, right? Like, and it's that path of like somehow he got even bigger, but also his in-ring ability went down because of it, because he was just so big that he couldn't.
Yeah.
I'll give you another comp here. Scott Steiner. Like Scott Steiner was an awesome pro wrestler in the early 90s. I know people talk about the promos now, and they are very funny promos.
But when the Steiner brothers first came on the scene, like late 89 and into 90, 91, holy crap.
There was talks of putting the world championship on Scott Steiner because he was just that good. Like they were like, we have to put the belt on him. They were just hoping he could develop a promo at that point, because if you watch those early 90s Steiner's promos, like other than Rick could cut a decent promo, but Scott was very, like this is going to be rough, which is hilarious now what you see afterwards when he becomes Big Papa Pump. But it's that same trajectory where, and even then Scott Steiner was a big dude in the early 90s, but he was also athletic. And it was this rare combination of athleticism, but also incredible in-ring ability, where you're like, oh, this guy could be the next big thing, literally. But in this case, with Steiner, he got so big and then became Big Papa Pump that his wrestling ability went down with it. And then you get, Scott Steiner against Triple H at the Rumble, where he's got the bad ankle and he's trying to throw around suplexes. And again, master in-ring worker, Triple H, not carrying his guy to a great match. You didn't think I would get out of that without burying Triple H? You kidding me? But it's like 2003, like it just, it's just Steiner throwing him around. But he just got so big that his in-ring went down. So I think that's what's happening with Brian Cage here, where like all of a sudden I'm like, how could this guy possibly get even bigger and still be athletic? And then we saw what happened against Kevin Knight. It's like, oh, maybe we are starting to see that
Right.
happen.
Exactly. But I was kind of intrigued. Like Kevin Knight to me is one of those guys that I think I don't like. They see a ton in him, and I know that he's a really good wrestler, and we've talked about this before. He's missing a little bit of something for me, but they've done a really good job in turning job speed into something that okay, is Mike Bailey going to turn on this guy? Like, or like, is Mike Bailey going to challenge him and it's Kevin Knight that kind of goes to the bad side?
Yep.
And then we haven't even talked about the fact that, you know, Swerve Strickland and the promos that he had when he's walking in the Western saloon town and, you know, finding the wanted Bandito sign and then coming in at Ring of Honor. And
by the way, did you know that Ring of Honor had a pay-per-view that Friday, or did you find out like everybody else did?
Yeah,
when the highlights were coming out, because they didn't talk about Ring of Honor at all on the Dynamite show.
Yeah,
at all.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, Ring of Honor had a pay-per-view today.
Yeah,
so I would have. I mean, there wasn't anything like, I know Nigel had another match, but you know, other than that, there wasn't anything that really is like, oh, I gotta drop everything to watch this Ring of Honor pay-per-view. But I will rant about it and say, like, you know, I still think that it's your show, Tony. Promote Ring of Honor if you really do care about it. Like, put it on your AEW show. I'm not saying it's got to be every segment, but you know, you own it, so promote it. Like, you are a promoter at the end of the day. So the big thing with being a promoter is, the key word in promoter is promote. So promote. But
yeah, I'm not one to have them all on AEW programming, but there's nothing wrong with promoting the other side, and like, people know how great those wrestlers are, so go and check them out.
Yep.
And build up some of the feuds, like not as wrestlers on TV, but like show some highlight packages. As you said, promote the show. I don't love when it's like so intertwined with AEW that you can't really tell the difference between the two companies. Like, you got to be able to separate them a little bit for me. But Swerve Strickland and Bandito, like, there's something I'm really interested in.
Yep.
And again,
and on the Ring of Honor stuff, I'm more okay with having it intertwined, because to me, it's like, in my mind, it's part of the system anyways. It's no different for me than an NXT wrestler coming on to WWE programming and be like, oh, that's an NXT guy, and now coming in. That in my mindset. But even then, like, some sort of basic promotion, just to say, like, Ring of Honor's having a pay-per-view. This guy is wrestling. This guy is wrestling. Oh, Nigel McGuinness, like, he's a former wrestler. He's gonna take on Josh Woods or whatever. Like something. Like, be a promoter. Like, I don't care if some dorks on Twitter will just be like, oh, why are they promoting Ring of Honor? That's not their show. Who cares about, you know, Triple H lover 6699? I don't care about what he has to think about on Twitter. Who cares? Just promote your show, okay?
Right. Yep.
That actually might be Chris Thompson's Twitter account, but nonetheless.
Very, very nice.
Hey, 2000 Triple H was a good wrestler. 2000 Triple H was great. It was the injury and afterwards, and then everything afterwards where he just plummets for me. But anyways.
But back on topic here.
Yes.
So then you have Kenny Omega, right? When people, like, they're still interested in seeing him.
Yep.
They've done a decent job with Andrade to be, you know, you're still kind of intrigued. God knows when they bring Hangman Page back.
Yep. That's still waiting the coals there.
Right. And that's, I think it's going to be sooner rather than later, because if you don't do it soon, then it's not happening till after All In. And maybe that's your plan all along, that he's just going to be off for like a long time. But I don't know. I think Hangman would generate some interest.
Yep.
Around your biggest show of the year. So.
And that's something that they can promote too. Like, the return of Hangman Page here on Dynamite. He will say his first word since losing to MJF. Like, that's an easy selling point for fans. Like, oh, MJ, and like, hey man, we're finally going to hear from him for the first time. And they wanted to,
like, I'm tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, oh, I gotta see how he's feeling about this, and like, what's the next steps for Hangman? Like that's absolutely a big selling feature.
Don't do it in the main event segment, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But
don't do it each and every week. On Dynamite
every week,
3 months.
But we haven't even talked about about the Bucks and FTR and Christian and Pope. And I keep reading these rumors about Adam Copeland hanging them up in October, and they're going to push those guys hard if that's the case. They are just doing a really good job with a lot of their top people and keeping it really interesting, because not all of their top people are on every show, and they're still keeping it. Like, I want to see when Hangman comes back.
Yeah.
And like, Joe just got back. There's other, like, Kenny Omega. We really haven't seen him for the last little bit.
Yep.
And they're continuing on with Darby Allin as the champion and Kevin Knight as their TNT champion, right? Like, who would have ever thought Darby would be the world champion, Kevin Knight would be the TNT champion? You're like, this company's thriving. Like, they are thriving. And now you see these odd notes like, oh, it's gone downhill since Darby's been the world champion. Like,
well, they're looking at these television ratings. Okay, yeah. You got me sparked up, because I've seen that criticism, and I know where that's like, oh, this television number has gone down. It's like, well, look, they first of all conveniently ignore, as you mentioned at the top, that Arthur Ashe Stadium sold out during the time that Darby Allin was on top. So it did sell some tickets, Lee, and people wanted to see this title defense of Darby Allin. Certainly the company anyways, he's the forefront of AEW being hot right now. Now you look at these television ratings. I have not talked about television ratings for either WWE or AEW or any sort of wrestling promotion in the States right now, because nobody knows what the hell this rating system is anymore. Like, because they constantly change it around. And it's like, okay, so how am I supposed to take these numbers seriously if they're constantly being changed? Like, I can't be critical of like, I know SmackDown went less than 1 million viewers. Like, I don't know if that's legit or not with this new rating system. And I can't be critical of this AEW rating system if they're still constantly changing it. So I've seen that criticism, but that's the big thing of context that's being left out when it comes to those reviews from Eric Bischoff, of course.
Yeah,
and
but
he's
I couldn't agree with you more about that.
And so I feel like it's irrelevant at that point. Like, now, if we had that current system that's in, and it's like, okay, this is the system, we're sticking by it, and it's been a year into this system, and this is what we're seeing, then I think there's something to discuss, of course, absolutely, and be like, okay, maybe he's not the draw.
But also, Zach, you know as well as I do, from January until April, and I hate to put it in WWE terms, but really from Royal Rumble season until WrestleMania, and it's still winter, and just a lot more people watch. And guess what? In April, after WrestleMania is done, and into May and into June, and the weather starts getting better, and then there's all these kind of outdoor events, and people have their holidays, and like, it's not when people don't watch TV as much. And this is an excuse for like AEW in particular, but the numbers always go down in like late April, May, June. They always go down.
Yeah. It's how you do against the trends is the big thing when it comes to those downturns, right? Like, if you're just going with the trend, like if the trend is downwards and you're part of that trend, that means you're not either a negative nor a positive. You're just kind of part of the trend. Now, obviously, if you have a little bit of a bump on the trend where it's still down than what you usually see, but compared to years past, it's up, then yes, you are a person that is a positive contributor, even though if you look at it at face value, like it seems like it's a low number. Again, I'm not great at math, Lee, so I'm not going to go too far into it.
Not great
That's
for us
very
that you're the fact checker of OSN and you're not great at math.
You assigned me that, just for the record. I didn't put that on me. My gimmick is new man. You'd also decide to throw in the fact checker gimmick on me. And,
Well,
it's like me coming out of the creative room.
You threw the new man 2 weeks ago and then you changed it already. Like, and now
Look,
you're
there was a
back
bit of
to
a
it
road
again.
bump. There was a bit of a road bump.
There's already been a bump and now you're back to it. Like, this is like, it's flip-flop season for sure now with the weather, but man,
I'm coming out of the creative room. It's like, I go to the other guys, like, guys, they gave me this fact checker gimmick. Like, how am I supposed to like run with this gimmick? I like my new man gimmick more. And so I am a new man, and I am going to try this again. Backlash was a little bit of a bump. We debuted at the wrong time, Lee. We debuted the gimmick at the wrong time.
At the exact right time. I can't wait for Saturday night's main event and Clash in Italy to come up.
Yes.
Here in the
and then I come back on. It's like, I'm no longer a new man, Lee. This gimmick, I'm permanently putting it to the ground. Yeah, or you know what I could do, like what Dustin Rhodes did with Seven. Remember the Seven gimmick? Yeah. Where it's like he debuts, they spent millions upon millions of dollars for this entrance, and then he comes to the ring and then he's like, this gimmick sucks. I can't believe they gave me this gimmick. And I'm like, oh, okay. This is I'm the son of Dusty Rhodes, and this is the crap I've got to put on. What are we doing here? So maybe I could do that with the new man gimmick. Is like after one of the WWE PLE / Saturday Night's main event, I'm coming is like, look at this crap gimmick I gave myself. I can't do it with this crap gimmick.
Right.
I'm back to beat me. I'm Zach McGibbon, damn it. I'm now a new man. So
that's so funny.
Man.
Anyway, the whole point is that people don't watch as much TV in the summer, like in the spring and into the summer, and with the weather changing and school getting out and vacations and all of that stuff. It's just what happens. And it's what happens to, as you said. So now you don't have a rating system that you can trust whatsoever. And we always know that there's less people watching TV when the weather gets better. But now we're going to point out that SmackDown didn't hit 1 million and the AEW, like with Darby Allin, like Darby Allin being the champion is suddenly representative of why the numbers are down. Well, no, that's
not how it works.
That's not how it works.
I thought, Eric Bischoff, all these years of experience in television and all the businesses and all that, I thought he would know something like that. I'm stunned he would not know about that. Truly.
Yeah, the problem with him, though, is that he probably does know it and is just saying this crap anyway.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
he's made it into a gimmick, yes.
He doesn't care. And when people don't care about their credibility, like Eric Bischoff does not care about his credibility at all. So then why am I going to listen to him and go, oh, yeah, that's a great point, when he doesn't care about his own credibility. So
I've said my piece about Bischoff in the past.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I still am owed my Bischoff rants one of these days. One of these days I'll get my Bischoff rant, but today is not that day.
Yeah, because you're a new man.
I'm a new man.
That's
I'm a new man, Lee.
Yeah.
We're going to put the ranting to the past, and we're not going to be critical of guys like
I love this because you just look at the events that are coming up. Like I said, Saturday night's main event.
Yes, Clash in Italy.
Clash in Italy.
Saudi Arabia show coming up.
Yeah. Like the hits are going to keep on coming.
Yeah, but you're really going to put this new man gimmick.
You're a new man. Like, it's the perfect time. It's literally the perfect time to be able to do this.
Yes, try this gimmick. Oh, this should work. And during a period of the WWE schedule that I will probably loathe, absolutely try this new man gimmick. Absolutely. This is why I'm not on a creative team, Lee. This is why I'm not on a wrestling creative team.
Love it. So yeah, later on in the week, we're going to have some like predictions for Double or Nothing. We'll talk a little bit about C4. And yes, we've heard you. We have heard you. We are going to come out with some more shorts because we know that you are craving those and we need more. What is black and what is gold? What is, I don't know. So good.
I've noticed a lot of the great moments of this show is when I'm in misery.
Wouldn't that be a compliment that great moments revolve around you?
Oh, yeah, fair enough when you put it that way. But
You're a new man.
I was gonna relate it back to new man. It's like maybe that's why I'm doing the new man gimmick. Is maybe I don't want to be in misery anymore. I just like
But
I just
maybe all of the great moments happen like 55 minutes, Zach. 55 minutes.
55 minutes.
Which
That's a good one too.
Yeah, it's a good one until WWE had a 4-hour show and had an hour 24 of wrestling. And now 55 minutes doesn't even seem so bad.
You're like, you know,
Yeah.
compared to what we've got, and now the wrestling media has accepted that. It's like, oh, you know what? It could be worse. It's like, yeah, we know it could be worse because you guys weren't critical enough of it when it happened. Like,
Oh, imagine they do a show, like a 4-hour show, and they get it up to like 2 hours and 20 minutes of wrestling.
Yeah. Lee,
they're gonna be like, this is amazing.
When it happens, Lee, that there's less than an hour of pro wrestling on a 3-hour, 4-hour, when it happens, not if, when it happens.
Yep.
You better believe I'm going to come up on here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to rant about this. I will shed the new man gimmick and I will rant about it.
You can't have a new man gimmick and talk about when you're going to shed the gimmick. You've already shedded the gimmick in your first opportunity in your Backlash review.
Maybe we can evolve the gimmick here. Maybe it's a dual personality thing I've got going, like Goldust. Funny enough, with Dustin Rhodes talking about 7 earlier. Maybe I have like a dual, like there's the ranty side of me, and then there's the new man side of me that's constantly in fighting against each other.
Right. Where is the fact checker and the math guy that we need?
Well, the math guy never existed, first of all, but the fact checker was just a gimmick bestowed upon me. And it's me reading through is like, this is what creative wants from me. I guess if it means getting myself on TV, I guess I'll do it. You know, that sort of deal. But, you know, we'll find out. But when it happens, Lee, when it happens, not if, when it's less than an hour of pro wrestling, you better believe I'm going to come on here. And you better believe that there will be people that will come out and try in defense of this because they'll be like, well, Zach, you know, they got to get these stories over. They got to get all these great, you know, William Shakespeare-like stories on their WWE programming. So they have to get the time to get this over. I'm like, 3 months straight of main events being storylines isn't enough. Is that not enough?
February 16th, and we currently sit on May 18th. Will we have a wrestling match in the main event tonight? I doubt it. But
I highly doubt it, which again, is a crazy sentence for you to say, just for the record. A crazy sentence.
I know. February 16th.
Imagine watching an MMA show and asking, will there be an MMA match in the main event? Like, imagine saying that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the fact that in that slot, Javon Evans and Dominic Mysterio were in it. Not anybody. Like, Gunther was in it, yes, but it wasn't Roman Reigns. It wasn't CM Punk. It wasn't, you know, even like Seth Rollins. It wasn't Braun Breaker. It wasn't any of these guys.
Nope.
Like, that's just, it's insane. But that's going to do it for us now. But we will, like I said, have the AEW Double or Nothing preview. Talk a little bit about C4 later in the week. And yes, when we can, we are going to do as many shorts as possible, and they are coming up in the near future. Plus, the Hogan doc is going to also come up.
I was just going to ask Hogan doc.
Yeah, I got asked about that today from our good friend Gord St. Dennis, who was just finishing it. And I'm like, yeah, we need to, because I feel
the more
like
we push it off, the more.
I know, but this is actually good because I was like mad ragey about it. Yeah. And now I think I can look at it like Backlash.
Like a new man.
Like I could. No, I'm not a new man. I'm just going to look at it a little bit more rationally. That's all.
Okay. I thought you were starting to see the vision of my gimmick.
I'm still going to be angry about it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, like, because there's just some stuff in there that's like just not true.
Yeah, I know. It's just there was just watching through it and just.
It's amazing. And look, this will be the tease for it. Yeah. It is insane to me. Insane that I have had people watch that doc that don't watch wrestling a lot. People like my family, people, because it's Hogan. Yep. And they're like, oh yeah, like, man, what a guy. Like, they're coming up to me and saying this after the documentary, like, just he had a few troubles and the steroid thing, but like everyone's got troubles. But what a guy! I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Do we watch the same
Yeah,
documentary?
but like you watch that and you think like he's still like your all-American hero. Like, and it's because they didn't show so much of it, right? They only showed a little bit.
Yep.
And people are walking away from this thing going, oh yeah, like I kind of felt bad for him. And like, no.
No.
Anyway, that's
well. Then here's my tease. Here are my two teases here. One, Mammy Wolf, and number two, my number two tease. Anyone that watches the doc will know what I'm saying when I say that. But and number two, like where they were talking about the racism stuff, and they're like, this is a racism scandal. He was gone, but then he came back, right? Like they did not explain at all like what he said during that point. I'm like, I feel like that's pretty important. Of like,
this is a documentary.
Yes. 4 parts.
This is a big part of his life.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yeah. I'm getting more frustrated.
And the Andre stuff. Like I didn't know whether he's going to do business. Like
he's
full of crap.
He's been doing that for years. Like there's like old clips, the MTV show Cribs.
Yeah.
Where he's got Andre the Giant's wrestling boots. I think he said, he's like, brother, this is when I slammed Andre. These were the wrestling boots that I wore when I slammed Andre. And in that match, Andre died 8 days later. I'm like, come on, Hulk. Like he did. What do you?
I know.
Like, and the funny thing is, he doesn't have to do it. He's already got a pretty like
right.
All the things he does. He doesn't have to embellish. Like the one that makes me laugh, one of my favorite Hogan ones. Like everybody talks about the Metallica one, where he was going to be the lead guitarist of Metallica. Like that's always a great one. But for me, is when he said he was going to, he was traveling to Japan and then traveling back, and then he was actually like time traveling, brother, because of the time zone differences of how much he was going back and forth, and also saying, I was going to Japan and packing 150,000 people in Cork and Hall, and I was like, I've been to Cork and Hall, Lee.
Yeah, I'm gonna bet it doesn't have the capacity of 150,000, Zach.
Lee, it doesn't have the capacity for 10,000. Okay, right. It has a capacity for maybe max 3,000. Right. Maybe max 3,000.
Yeah, but he packed 150,000.
150,000 in Cork and Hall, brother.
Impressive.
You know what? That would be something I would boast about too if that happened. But
even like the simplest of simple things, that he was the first guy to slam Andre, and it's like, you watching all those videos? Like, not only had he slammed Andre before, but like Kamala had, and like all kinds of people had.
My boy Stan Hansen did.
Yeah. Like, anyway, there's just so much. So I'm starting to get fired up again. So we will do the Hogan
for the review.
Yep, we'll do the Hogan doc, and we'll go through that as well. So thanks for being with us, everybody. Enjoy Game 7 if you're watching and listening to this live, as that's coming up in about a half an hour from now. I hope you have a good week. Sometimes that first day back, Tuesday after the long weekend, is nice out this weekend. It's a difficult day to get back at the grind.
Yes.
So already not looking forward to that, but we've got lots of stuff coming up on This Is Wrestling. So look forward to it. Have a good week. And we are going to be able to talk to you, I think, a couple of times coming up this week as well. And the beauty of this show is you never know when that This Is Wrestling is live notification is going to come across your screen. You have no idea.
Coming in with sealed chairs. We're wreaking havoc. And
you have no idea.
Yeah.
And that I think is awesome.
Yes.
So for Zach McGibbon, I'm Lee Versage. Hope you have a great week coming up, and we will get back to you here a couple of times. This is Wrestling on OSN.